standard bannings, the release of Rivals of Ixalan, you know how I feel? Hungry. Today, we're going to cook up a recipe for a black-red pirate deck that I'm going to call BBQ Chicken Pizza. But if we're going to make a pizza, pirate deck, the first thing we're going to need is dough. Pirates. So we're going to start off with 1 packet or 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast. We're also going to need 1 1/4 cups of hot water, 3 1/2 cups of flour, 1 tablespoon of honey, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Our first step is combining our 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast with a hot water. Now you put the honey in a tablespoon, it's going to have a hard time coming out, so we're just going to sort of eyeball some honey here. Next step, we just kind of let it hang out in there for 5 to 10 minutes until it gets all foamy and happy. Next up, we're going to give it a little whisk. For our electric mixer, we're going to need a dough hook attachment. Now, you can do this by hand with a whisk and then knead the dough with your hands, but I'm kind of useless. Now that we've got everything in there, we're going to let things combine on the slowest setting. Should take about 1 minute. Once the dough's looking a little bit combined like this, we're going to up the speed a little bit to a medium-low. And you'll leave that on for 6 to 8 minutes, just until it's sort of all beaten up. Oh, we've got our dough getting beaten up over there. This guy needs a little help to get through these standard bannings. Once it's been kneaded for 6 to 8 minutes, it's going to look a little bit like this. Should be a little bit sticky to the touch, but not too sticky. Now, once your dough is sort of looking like this, you want to get yourself a big bowl and brush it with olive oil. Then we toss our dough into our olive oil bowl. We're going to cover that with some saran wrap. Next important step, as in many recipes with deck building, is to give it some time. Let itself figure itself out. You know, you're going to have some kinks. You're not going to nail your list right away, and that's okay. Our dough needs time to rise. Now, while you're letting your dough rise, it's important that you have it in a medium warm kind of environment. Now, this apartment gets a little bit cold in the wintertime unless all the rads are on. So what I did is I tossed the oven on 250 degrees for a few minutes, and then I turned it off. It should be nice and comfortable for it to sit on top of the oven, get some of that residual heat, and give that yeast what it needs to do a little bit both. Now our dough is going to need an hour, maybe an hour and a half of time to rise. And sometimes the yeast can be a little funny. Now that's going to give us time to put together the rest of the ingredients for our tasty pizza, and to put together the recipe for our tasty pirate deck. So what are we going to put into our barbecue chicken pizza? Well, chicken, your favorite barbecue sauce, some tomato sauce, because what's a pizza without tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, and of course, red onion and red pepper. Now we've got a really nice ingredient that's going to go on top of it before we par-bake our pizza. That's going to be this garlic butter spread. Now of course, if you can't get a garlic butter spread or anything like it, you can get some olive oil and mash some garlic up in there. It's delicious. So let's get into how we're going to prep our chicken. Well, what we've got here is a packet of raw chicken. So we're going to cook that up ahead of time with some olive oil, salt, and pepper. First up, we're going to cut it into about 1-inch bits, and then throw it into a bowl with the olive oil, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now that we've got it cut up into a 1-inch cubes, give or take, don't get too technical, we're going to throw in olive oil, pepper, a little bit of salt. If you can get it, the salt of a team of energy players' tears are fantastic right about now. You want to mix it up with your hands wherever possible. I like to get my hands dirty, get my hands all over this meat, just like our black-red pirates are going to do. Next up, we're going to put a non-stick pan on medium heat and cook our chicken to a desired doneness. Now, make sure not to overcook your chicken because we're going to be putting it on the pizza when the pizza goes into the oven. Alrighty, our pan is nice and hot on a medium heat, so we're going to get our chicken in there. Come on! Yeah, there you go. Alright, so it's going to take maybe 2-3 minutes. Make sure you see a little bit of brownness. Alrighty, so once the chicken's sort of looking like this, you can break apart a piece of 2
Check on the inside there. If it looks totally cooked through, you're pretty much done.
After your cooked chicken is rested for a while, we're going to pour that out on a chopping board, chop it up a little more, put it back in the bowl, and toss it with our barbecue sauce of choice. Once you've chopped it up, it should look a little bit like this, with pieces around this size. But of course, as tasty as that chicken is now you're going to add your favorite barbecue sauce. You can make it as saucy or not so saucy as you like. Being as we're doing Black Red Pirates today, we're going saucy. There you go. We're going to prep up red onion and a red pepper. While I was chopping these onions, I was thinking about how much I'm going to miss those rampaging Ferocious. Too soon. Too soon. Alright, now let's talk cards. First off, we're going to start off with 4 copies of Daring Buccaneer. It's a 2/2. It's going to come down for 1 mana as long as you can reveal a pirate in your hand. But hey, we got lots of pirates. I suggest revealing your turn 2 play. Now, for your turn 2 plays, we've got 4 copies of Fathom Fleet Captain. Now, once you've got another non-token pirate you can attack with, now you can generate pirate tokens with Menace. And this guy's got Menace. Fantastic! Next up, we got 2 copies of Kari Zev, Skyship Raider. This chick is so efficient. We've also got 4 copies of Kitesail Freebooter. Now, Kitesail Freebooter allows you to look at your opponent's hand. This is very important to assess out your next couple turns of play. We have very little disruption, so it's important that if they've got some kind of sweeper or wrath effect, that you don't overextend too hard. And this lets you pick apart the hand a little bit, and of course, scout out that information. If your Kitesail Freebooter should die, they're going to get back the card they take. So if they've got spot removal, you might have to take that. Or you can force them to play it. Hey, next up, we're moving to the 3 drops. We've got 2 captains of Captain Lannery Storm. Now the reason why I'm playing Captain Lannery Storm is 2 parts. 1, she's a nice little 2/2 body, haste, comes in. But every time she attacks, you get a treasure. And that treasure can help you get a little leg up in either burning your opponent out in late game or casting one of our more expensive spells. Next up is a very important card, Ruin Raider. It's because Ruin Raider is one of our ways to generate consistent card advantage, which, as an aggressive deck, we might need to squeeze out the late game. Need to draw an extra burn spell? Ruin Raider's got you back, as long as you're still attacking. Now, I know we've got some 4 and 5 casting cost spells in the deck, but honestly, if you're worried about your own life total, you might be having some other issues too. And to top out our creature curve, at 4, we've got Dire Fleet Neckbreaker. The moment he comes down, all your pirates start swinging in for +2 power. We've also got 4 planeswalkers in the deck. 2 copies of Chandra, Torch of Defiance, always good, helps you keep burning out and gives you a little card draw. And 2 copies of Angrath the Flame Chain, a pirate planeswalker. Angrath is another way to really close out a game. It's inevitable, he keeps hitting their hand, it's good to go. Now for some spells. 4 Shocks and 4 Lightning Strike. Easy peasy. Bam. Some people like their pizza spicy. Some people like their Decklist spicy. Well, we've got these Pepperoncini Piccanti peppers, product of Italy. These are fabulous. Spicy, goes right on top of your slice after it comes out of the oven. Oh, and for our deck list, we're going to use Buccaneers. Some people like some cool, a little bit of spice your opponent might not be expected into. And that's fantastic too. Maybe in another video, we'll get into what you can do with a blue splash playing 3 colors, or blue-red pirates, or blue-black pirates. Finally, a land base. Pretty simple. We're going to have 7 mountains, 8 swamps, 4 Dragon Skull Summit, and 4 unclaimed territory. Now, our sideboard. First off, we got 2 Deadeye Tracker. This guy goes after your opponent's graveyard, removing cards for Explore, which might give you card advantage. Now, what you want to bring this in against is God Pharaoh's Gift, or any of those Torrential Gearhulk related decks. Maybe even Scarab God. We've also got 4 copies of Duress. Now, Duress is going to come in against any deck that are playing lots of those non-creature spells that give you a headache, board sweepers, wrath, spot removal, burn, counterspells, any of it. The rest is going to go right after the hand. 4 copies of Blood-Crazed Paladin. Now, he may not be a pirate himself, but this flash vampire was really going to help you recover for any sweepers or wraths. Finally, we've got 3 copies of Fiery Cannonade. Fiery Cannonade is going to be your sweeper that doesn't hit any of your creatures. Just watch out if they're also playing pirates. This thing doesn't hit any pirates. As this deck is brand new and hasn't really settled into the meta, I have no idea if some of these card choices are going to be optimal. Also, things like Challenger of Torch of Defiance may be a little bit above your price bracket, but we've got lots of other options. We've got Forerunner of the Coalition, who can tutor up pirates out of your deck and ding your opponent for 1 every time you play them. Then you've got Vraska's Contempt. Vraska's Contempt removes enemy planeswalkers and exiles creatures like that Scarab God. So now that we're done with the deck list, let's get back to a pizza. Now that our dough is finally risen, let's take a look at it. This is about an hour after the fact. It's nice and puffy, there's a bunch of gas in there, the yeast has really done its work, and a nice amount of heat has kept it all bubbling away. We're going to preheat our oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, or as hot as you're willing to go. Now, we're doing sort of a thin Italian-style pizza here, so you want to go with a hot oven. Hot oven, I'll tell you. 850 degrees is the place down the street. 850! Now, you're going to have to work your pizza into a sort of round shape from the ball of dough. After you've worked your pizza into a nice round pizza shape, you're going to brush it down with that garlic butter. And once you've brushed it down with your garlic butter, it's time for it to go straight into the oven. You're going to let it bake, or partially bake, for about 3 to 4 minutes until it gets a little bit golden brown, but not too much. Then you're going to put on your tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, red pepper, red onion, and of course, barbecue chicken. We've also got one secret ingredient that I love to add at the end. That's some fresh arugula. It's spicy, leafy. You want to put it on the pizza right as it's hot out of the oven.
And here we have a beautiful pa-baked pizza coming out of the oven. Oh, look at that. That's with garlic butter all melted on there, looking brown and beautiful.
And once you got your pizza back in the oven, after it's pa-baked, after you got your toppings on there, you're going to want that to cook for 4 or 5 minutes. Not too long, that's a pretty hot oven. But you want it to get crispy on the bottom, melt your cheese, and cook up your chicken real nice. Now, unfortunately, I lost a lot of the footage I had of the fresh pizzas coming out of the oven. Well, live and learn. First video. But we've got this beautiful leftover pizza, and this is what it's going to look like right there. Let's see how it comes out as a reheat a couple days later. Oh yeah. Bubbly cheese, nicely cooked chicken, nicely heated up onion, and we're going to sprinkle on another little bit of arugula there. Fabulous. So that about does it for BBQ Chicken Pizza. The food and the deck. If you don't want to pay those ridiculous Domino's prices, and if you don't want to play some kind of meta deck that someone else has put together, play the meta deck I put together. Remember, it's not net decking if you're getting it off a friend. And we're friends.